My interactions with MAGA, which people, and I call it like the Jerry Springer show, that is 10% of what you're seeing. And so let's say I go out for 4 hours, that's 10%. The other part is people blowing their horn, rolling down the window, like, yes, Gunny. And I get on there, let me get a F Trump. And so the other 90% is all positive, which leads me to believe that although I'm in a red state, that there's some sort of a shift happening. My real name is David Schwartz. All of my social media handles are all Gunny Speaks Out. And what I do currently is I'm a newish content creator, probably about 18 months now. Started just prior, several months before the election, getting involved in the politics and stuff like that. Started doing TikTok live debates. And since then, I've gotten more and more involved with my local movement, Evansville Resistance. And then that kind of precipitated me getting here, being a part of Remember Your Oath. Then I made friendships with people out here, Cliff Cash. And then he asked me to be a part of the Remove the Regime. So that's why I'm here this past few days. Did I think that Trump would win? Yeah, I thought Trump was going to win. I didn't think Kamala had her 107 days to prepare for a campaign. I didn't think that that was going to be ample enough time for her to prepare. My personal opinion was that I thought Joe Biden should have stepped down earlier. No hate on him, but in order to run an effective campaign, you need time. So, but yeah, so I saw it happen going down once he hit the first couple of states. It like kind of in a, I won't say landslide, but I was like, yeah, but this is how it's going to go. And I went to bed and I woke up saying, yep, I knew that was going to happen. And I knew the culture behind MAGA and Trump basically getting, because his whole thing was he convinced everybody to hate the same people. You know, they were like, oh, he hates the same people I hate, because I believe his campaign was ran on, racism, misogyny, transphobia, homophobia, all that stuff, and all the people in the flyover rural states, they grasp onto that. So I knew that because of the marketing behind that would probably win him the campaign. Unfortunately, my initial reaction was that, like, even though that I knew it was going to happen, you still hang on that one glimmer of hope. And I'm like, this is real, so I took a little bit of time to process after being, somewhat, I'll say, devastated. And I was like, we're in for some bad times. And I did not think that we would still be where we are today. But then I knew I had two options. One, bow out and just say, screw it. Or two, ramp up my what I do on my platform. So I opted for the latter, and then I stepped up my game, and here I am today. Yeah, I get DMs all the time. People have actually tried to run me off the road and where I live, swerve into me, things like that. I had a veteran, while I was in a VA appointment, cut my "fuck Trump" flag off my Harley Davidson, and he was arrested. They put 3 federal charges on him. They kicked it down to the state, and I guess because we live in a red state, they dropped him. But as far as any acts of anything physical violence or anything like directly to me in my face, that has not happened. Like I said, it's mostly indirect through all the what I call them keyboard warriors. My interactions with MAGA, which people, and I call it like the Jerry Springer show, that is 10% of what you're seeing. And so let's say I go out for 4 hours, that's 10%. The other part is people blowing their horn, rolling down the window, like, yes, Gunny. And I get on there, let me get a F Trump. And so the other 90% is all positive, which leads me to believe that although I'm in a red state, that there's some sort of a shift happening, because I would have expected there would have been a lot more on the MAGA side. So 90% positive, 10% the negative, and sometimes that 10% is it's out there. So I knew like Jolly had been on a panel of mine. We were not like didn't know each other face to face or whatever, but Jolly had been on some of my panels. I knew Laney, Matt. And then Jay when he was out here, and U.S. Army Overlord, just through TikTok lives and things like that. So yeah, so once I had heard they were coming out here for the National Guard, I was like, I need to be a part of this. It took me a little while. I think it was in September that I first came out here, and I was going to stay for 3 days. I ended up extending. I think I ended up staying for 7 days or 10 days because I just got so I got so motivated to get behind Remember Your Oath. I'm like, called my wife. I called Mrs. Gunny. I'm like, hey babe, I need to stay a little bit longer and get more involved in this. She said, sure, no problem. So yeah, I've been involved. I started coming out here in September. This is my third trip to DC, probably in 4 months.
Who reached out to you for Remove the Regime? How did you get here for this weekend?
Cliff did. He messaged me on Instagram and told me what he was doing, and he wanted to know, can you put the word out on your content? I'm like, sure, absolutely. So I started putting a couple of posts out there with the banner and tell them everything that's going on. Like, if you can absolutely 100% be here, please get there, do your best ability, and if not, support in indirect ways if possible. So yeah, he reached out to me yesterday at the Lincoln Memorial when I got there, and I saw the number of people from the stage stretched all the way down to the monument. I'm like, this is real. Like, it was very surreal. And I'm like, wow, we got a ton of people here. And I was like, this is freaking amazing. Of course, I'm, videoing and stuff because it was so, like I said, if you weren't here, you got to get to the next one or whatever, because it was just a freaking amazing. The number of people, the amount of support, and but yeah, I was just absolutely like blown away by it. And yes, we are definitely moving the needle. There is more of us than them, and proof in that is that if the MAGA and the MAGA Republicans, if they were so behind Donald Trump, why were there? I think I ran into 3 counter protesters out of the tens of thousands that were here yesterday. So like, his approval rating is going in the toilet, and I think MAGA is kind of circling the drain with him. So. Yeah, but we are definitely moving the needle. Everybody needs to collaborate together because we all have the same. We all want the same end goal, right? And that's what the movement says: remove the regime, right? So all these different groups, they need to continue to build that community together and expand it as far as wide and as possible as we can across the United States. And hell, I've got supporters from out of the country that know me. So even outreach from people outside of our own country. If you can get here and you're not a fan of Donald Trump, we need to bridge those gaps and pull as many people as possible together to make that happen. I had breakfast with Carlos this morning, and I made it perfectly clear to him that I want to be a part of this thing, American opposition, and I want to, be a cog in that wheel to help this effort. And then when I go back home, I want to carry that message to the people local in my own community, and then build that community in my own network there, and assist in any other ways that I can for the the bigger picture or whatever. Yeah, but I guess one of my biggest things was, 90 million people didn't vote. That cannot happen again, because we were 4 million votes away from probably making this thing go another direction. There's plenty of resources out there to educate and get smart on policy and how things work in the government. It all starts at the local level, and then it works its way up, so it can be exponential in that way. So get out, educate on the policies and the people that are in your cities and states, and work that up forward. But we can't afford to sit another. 90 million people can't afford to sit another one out, or this is just going to continue. So get out and vote.